To expand
that is another way to do it, to do the oversight.
To expand on this, this is a similar method to how some PD decisions were made in the past. Is it palpable? Let's say to some of us, where again it's a compromise between the two systems. We potentially vote this in, and in the event that it's not a supermajority, the state has 72 hours to veto it. They can obviously veto it at any time, as is their purview. But this doesn't kick in for. I'm just going to throw out a time frame here. 72 hours. That way, like if the state wishes to stop this before it even comes into effect, that's within their purview, and then they could stop it after as well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a sunrise clause, not a sunset clause. Like we vote a legislation to come into effect half a week from now, a week from now, and the Fed still has their time to review it and stop it before it even starts if that's what they wish.
The Fed is aware.
Okay.
They know what this thing says. They know how I feel about it. They are aware. And guess what? No veto.
Well,
no, I don't really have much to
give
say.
a different perspective as well. So, it seems like I said.
The only thing I want to bring up is that people might have jumped on the wagon too early before he's done
with a good compromise as far as what's going on.
When did you speak?
I believe yesterday with them.
Okay, I spoke to them 10 minutes before this meeting.
I will admit I was a part of that conversation, and I can confirm what Max is saying.
So let's take it to a vote.
I got a couple questions about it, if you don't mind.
You are not a council member. Let's take it to a vote.
Hold on.
No.
I am. Hold on. Let's, guys. Please.
Don't screech. No. Okay.
We worked so hard.
Cornwood.
We worked so hard on the tone. We worked so hard on the tone, guys. Look, please, for my sanity. Okay, I am a council member, Max, and I want to make sure that we give everyone the benefit of the doubt so that we do this mutually. Okay, we've already spent enough time on this. Can we please just afford a couple more questions?
Sure. Sorry,
okay. Turner, go ahead.
Thank you there. Just to make sure I got the verbiage right, I just want to get clarification on this. Commissioner of the LSPD, and this is in writing.
Well,
the
purpose
of the LSPD is empowered to carry out the functions of LSPD at the highest level. The commissioner of LSPD does not answer to the mayor's office in any capacity after being selected.
That's right.
Commissioner is a well-respected cop and senior plus at minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes over your head.
No, he goes over your head.
He's
your
equal.
boss.
He would be equal to the council, essentially. He serves the state just like we do. He would be the PD's boss.
Or she.
The verbiage is
or she.
Does not answer to the mayor's office.
Correct.
That's right.
Just like the Chief Justice does not answer to the PD.
I wanted to put that in there specifically just so that you guys don't think that I'm installing like a puppet that's working for you. Like that person has no obligation to do anything that I tell them to do. Okay.
And guess what? He doesn't even pick that person. It's in conjunction with the state. So even if that wasn't in there, it wouldn't necessarily be his exact choice.
That's right.
I am curious. The investigations that the mayor's office would be doing on the PD, who would be doing that? Would that be something that you yourself would be doing, or would you be bringing in
that's what I mentioned earlier. Willie Glory and Lance Malton. Willie was my pick,
and they would be the only ones.
Lance was a mutual discussion point. Yes.
I mean, look, my recommendation is I would have liked to see like Jenny Hall in that just for additional coverage, and I believe she is well qualified. But
I would agree with that too.
Of course.
That's but yeah, when I
wait, are you? Hold on. Sorry, that's inappropriate. Go ahead. I just had a realization. I'll keep it to myself.
Okay. I'll full disclosure for my part on this. Obviously I was given a softball question about all this, and
what was Crane about to say?
The pitch was Office Space, send in the Bobs as a fact finding mission. The names that I pitched were all former members of PD High Command who each were the administrative de facto heads of their respective departments, who I feel would be qualified for a fact-finding mission. That being said, look, obviously, the wording can be played around a little bit. I see here that you know, some definitions have been changed. So, but before a vote, I would like just two more minutes to read over this. But
take 5. All right,
yeah,
I'm gonna go piss.
This is
yes,
good.
please.
I have one question, Mr. Mayor. Can I ask you just one more quick question?
Sure. And look, I'm sorry for shutting you down just now, man. I'm just.
That's all right.
All right.
When we spoke yesterday, you mentioned that this was only going to be enacted for your term.
Yeah, I'm still interested in pursuing that because a big concern of the council is a lot of what ifs about the future and potential abuse. In order to ease their minds, that is something I'm more than willing to do.
What? And I didn't hear the question. Sorry, I was talking to Alan.
He was asking if it would be for the duration of my term. I told him that's something I'm interested in doing to assuage the fears of the council.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, emergent state, temporary action. This is not like a forever thing.
Right. I just didn't see that in writing on the legislation.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw. I meant to throw in there. I got distracted. It will be at the bottom.
Okay.
I will ensure there is a sunset clause.
Yeah, but before y'all vote, can we just take a look at it one more time, just a final copy?
I will copy paste the final draft into your thing.
Yeah, I believe it's being edited live. That's why I was asking that.
Yeah, I just
needs to be edited with exactly what
I have to give it to you guys after it gets edited.
The thing I want to bring up is that people need to not use what is work in progress as the final thing. Wording can change. If you write this while you're on a fucking bender, some things can come across as something that it might not be. Was it his intentions from the start? Maybe. But should you take it and run with it? No, you shouldn't. Not until it's actually finalized. And that's why we're having these meetings. Just bringing shit up to a meeting doesn't mean that it will get pushed. If there's enough changes or concerns, it can get changed, like they're doing right now. And they used an old version of it as a reference while Max was still working on it with Crane and made updates that changed the wording that they were concerned about.
All of this is to
So
create a conduit for information and assessment of the police department between the PD and the state. The mayor, as an agent of the state, is the de facto conduit for that information.
All right.
The mayor may provide recommendations, input, assessment. The mayor is not the de facto decision maker. He is a cog in a wheel, just like all.
How's Michael feeling? Fine. Okay. Again, he's for it, and I think Crane just worded it in a better way.
Yep.
I need more cigarettes.
Michael, do you need food?
No, I need cigarettes. I guess that counts as food at this point.
Okay, let me give you some.
Yes, please. Stop it! I swear to God, you little shit. That's a hamburger. That's not a cigarette.
It's better for you.
I
should quit smoking.
What, you saying three packs a day is bad for me?
I'm worried about your lungs.
I'm not. My lungs are fine.
I'm really 3 packs a day. I'm worried about your lungs.
Nah. They'll be fine. I only had 6 cigarettes throughout this entire conversation.
Wow. All right, I gotta go talk to Crane really fast about
Yeah, you good.
My bar license.
I got a question for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Why do y'all think
thank you so much for the
I have a problem with people thinking I'm doing insane shit I ain't saying or doing? Y'all think I do it maybe I'm a little bit too long-winded whenever I speak?
Wait, what?
I've never had issues with you when I talk to you. I have heard crazy things about stuff you've done. Don't get me wrong.
I feel like people exaggerate what I say and do a hell of a lot. Either that or I'm not communicating well enough. Cause cause I ain't really understanding what's going on. Cause I just always be 100% honest with whoever I'm talking to. And then I hear through the grapevine that, you know, this guy said that guy said that this guy said that Cornwood said or did this. I'm like, what the shit? Hello? I mean, I didn't just I didn't give up $170,000 of my own money to the PD for no reason. You know, it's because I love this place. I want it to be as good as possible.
Cornwood as a telephone.
Yeah.
No,
Hell, I guess so.
It happens to all of
And
us
a
now.
lot of things in this city happens because of games of telephone. That's why, like,
Or people manipulating and spinning a narrative for their own
mm,
benefit.
yeah,
well.
but that
I
kind
mean,
of goes hand in
maybe,
hand.
but I suppose so. But the thing is I don't understand why
Michael suits
people
blue,
just
no, it's just black.
don't try and make what's best for everybody. You know?
That's literally what we try to do. The minute that I started hearing about this, I started going directly to officers and speaking to them directly. I had no problems getting meetings with the captains, but I put in the time and the effort, you know, because I know how busy and hectic their schedule is. So,
Can I run to the store
I
and
mean,
get
the
food
minute I
or
wanted to speak
cigarettes
to a
before we?
captain, I sat at MRPD and I waited for one because it's that important.
Sure.
I didn't just dismiss it because it was inconvenient, because
He's not wearing
my
blue right now.
job is to make sure that I get all of the facts. You know, when I heard that there were concerns from other PD officers, I went
Cigarettes.
to many different
You have
PD
some?
officers
I
and
only have
asked
2
them,
left.
what's going
Oh.
on? What are the issues?
One left.
Because
have to
I
go
don't
to the store
listen to
again
what
soon
others
before the-
say.
I'll see if
I
Norman has
go
some.
and I hear
I'll
it
go
straight from
downstairs
the mouth,
real
you know,
quick.
the horse's mouth. So
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
wait, why? So officers are coming to you?
no, I went to them because I heard people making the comment, officers have been coming to me claiming this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not going to take their word. I'm going to go to the officers and go, okay, are you having issues? What are the issues? Because then I can say, okay, well, it's, you know, a minority or a majority, or this is the actual issue and not this.
Did you ever talk to
So,
me?
I hadn't had a chance, no. At the time that this was
'Cause
brought to
you-
my attention, you were no longer
So it
active.
wasn't it didn't come to your attention until about 2-3 days ago, is what you're saying.
Right.
Because this has been a problem for 2 months.
Well, if it's been
Yeah,
then
this is a
why
new thing.
didn't I mean,
Yeah.
I'm literally a member of EMS too. I'm always around. So,
Yeah, as am I.
I mean, anybody could have come to me as well. So,
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this is just the truth is a lot of officers they're not going to go out of their way, you know, going out of the department to speak their concerns with people, you know. And if somebody comes from outside the department to come to speak with them, unless they have a close personal relationship with them, a lot of them won't speak their minds because they're worried about being reprimanded. They're worried about, oh, this guy said this, and then taking their words out of context for whatever reason. So I don't mean to be rude or none of that, but there is a world where some of these folks that you've talked to, maybe they don't feel that close with you, and they don't, you know, they're like, why does somebody who's a part of EMS, why does the treasurer want to know this? So
well,
if
with all
they
due
come and
respect,
they,
Cornwood,
you know,
the
they
people
don't
that I
want
spoke
to look
to
like they're
know me
snaking
very
into it,
well.
you know. Sorry, go ahead.
The people that I spoke to know me very well. So
Okay.
that's not a concern.
Okay. Well,
They are people that I trust and respect, and they also trust and respect me. So,
well, I
yeah.
mean, who all did you speak with?
I mean, who did I still have yet to get names. So,
Okay,
I mean,
because I have like double-digit names from
Uh,
the last 2 months who've come to me directly because they trust me and they know that I'm somebody that's going to care about what they have to say, that I listen to them, and that I make them feel heard.
did anybody go to Nakota?
I did multiple times.
What
Didn't
about
have
any of the other
cigarettes.
officers? Did they go to him?
Huh?
He didn't have
I'm
cigarettes.
unaware.
He had cigarettes.
Mm, Because I
didn't
mean,
have
it's
cigarettes.
But
literally
these
his
issues have
job.
been well before the PD
Yeah.
liaison.
Also, just like
position
some
has been
legal aid,
filled.
just listening through the floor.
Okay, but even still, after he
Mhm.
was instated, he's been in his position for what, almost a month now?
Yeah, and I've gone to Dakota. I mean, hell, I love Dakota. Hell, I gave him. He was short on money for a house. I gave him $15,000 the other week, and I told him, you don't even got to give me interest. Just just pay me back when you can, brother, because that's the way I operate. You know, I have the only thing I have to my name is my gun. I don't got a house. I don't got a car. I don't got none of that shit. I don't even have a personal PD vehicle because I spent all my money on everybody else. On whether it's the PD or other officers that I'm close with, I gave them what I got because they're low on cash, and that's just. I know we're not in a we're in a little bit of an economic crisis right now. I understand that, but if I can give a little bit now to make everybody else happier, then I can just kind of help do what I can to keep the boat moving. And that's just the oh shit. Is that an alpha?
Wait, what? What just happened?
Sounds like a cop got injured.
Is he on duty?
I have something for you.
No, it
wasn't
was
him. It was out in the hallway.
Oh.
It's probably Nakota because he's usually signed on duty whenever he's so he can keep an eye on things.
I heard an alpha. I ran out there, made sure that it wasn't one of the captains or some shit getting shot at or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, shit.
It's clear you have you have a lot of care for the PD, and I definitely see that. I can't speak to what a lot of people are saying, but no, I see what you mean.
Who's that? Female?
Excuse me, Corn, if I could
You
give a
find
little
out who
while
it
so I
is?
can sit down. Yeah, a little bit, Cornwood, a little bit.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh hell, I got us all a bunch of hold on. I got food for everybody.
Oh, I could use food.
He's so thoughtful. Do you have any cigarettes?
Oh no, hell.
God damn it. I can't be the only smoker in this fucking room.
I am.
You're a smoker?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Where's your cigarettes?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not strapped right now.
God.
We're social smokers.
Does anybody else need food? I got about 30 more bags of chips and I got some waters.
I'm all right, thank you.
I'm okay for
I'm-
now, thank you.
Miss anything
I'm
when
good,
I
I'm
was out
good, I'm good.
smoking?
I was out as
Not
well.
really. We're chatting a little bit, but nothing crazy.
Oh, Crane, can I talk to you about the outstanding cases I have on the docket after this?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like I'm just waiting for Nakota.
Yeah,
Are we
I
in there
guess
right
just that idle chit chat. Crane, was it a requirement that she gave up her bar license for the
Probably.
duration, or was that your decision?
Correct.
Siobhan? Okay, all right, that's fine.
Well, I informed her that she would have limitations.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
much like it would kind of be the inverse of Cornwood over there.
Yeah.
If Cornwood is ever reinstated as police officer, he having a bar license cannot defend criminal. He can engage in civil matters not against the PD. So contracts between two individuals, et cetera,
No, we didn't vote.
business proposals, blah, blah, blah.
On that.
But he should not engage in any conflicting interest sort of things. And I said the opposite to Siobhan, which was you can participate in criminal matters while being on the council, but you should not participate in civil matters because there are obvious issues there.
Yeah, no civil cases. I just want to talk to you about the ones that I have outstanding, what I should do with some of them. Thank you.
Now that we're all back, before we vote or anything,
Thank you.
I do want to say something, and I mean this. I want to apologize to everybody. My belief is that my personal estimation of my role in this city, as well as this council, as a microcosm thereof, that I assign myself and I take responsibility for, is being a mediator. As someone who held, I would say, probably the most universal information of everyone in this room about this act and the different perspectives, I failed in communicating and being available to assuage the concerns and misinformation that were occurring throughout the last week. So I personally think that I failed in that regard, and I apologize. And I will endeavor in the future to do better.
Same.
I will make a personal request for this. So sorry, Simone, go ahead.
No, I think it kind of ties into it, and I'm not.
Deputy Mayor, can you speak up, please?
Yeah, I cannot hear you.
Yeah, I don't think that is
Thank you.
if this is how this happened, but we also need to be careful. I know that we were putting shit up in the MDT, But we also need to realize that when we put it up, it doesn't mean that's the final wording, nor that is the final revision of a mandate or legislation. And that's why we have these meetings, is for talking things through. So sometimes I think if we look at something, we should probably question it, and that's why you can make edits. You can look at it. You can make notes, whatever. Example would be that you guys saw one wording that was then changed later on by Crane and Max. So things do change around, and that's again why we have these meetings, is to discuss and make the final changes. Just because it's brought up doesn't mean that it's going to get pushed through the same day. If everyone disagrees, or if you think it has to be reworded or rewritten, that's what we'll do. So we need to be careful not to run with whatever is written. It could be work in progress.
The last thing I'll see is obviously this legislation that was proposed was very contentious. Obviously, I can't mandate this, but I do believe that this is important enough vote that no one should abstain from it. That's just my request from everyone here, is that there's no abstentions on this one, although of course it can't be enforced.
Just to clarify, is there going to be a amendment in here? I thought I heard you say this, Mayor, about the term of this
Yeah, two things that we have agreed on with the officers is that there will be a sunset clause for at least this mayor's term. What was the other one?
I do have a question real quick. Let's say this selected individual for commissioner is incompetent, doesn't do the job you're looking for, mayor. How do you remove that person? What is there, like
Petition
a vote?
the state.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be fine. I promise.
Just like if you think I'm incompetent, you go to my boss.
Understood.
Voting time. Naturally, I presented this. I vote yay. Liaison of the Police Department of Los Santos.
I vote nay.
Head of bar, former police commissioner, Moulton.
Yay.
Head
enough.
of medical group, or liaison of the medical group of Los Santos, Philippa Cantor.
I vote nay.
Chief Justice, the Venerable Alan Crane.
I am of the assumption that Madam Treasurer will vote nay, and thus the vote will not reach a supermajority, and thus that will accomplish the state oversight that we have referred to, and thus I am comfortable voting yay because I believe in my bosses and the state to curb and repeal this should anything go awry. So I vote yay.
The Lady Treasurer.
Nay.
Deputy Mayor Michael Simone.
I vote yay.
Chief of Staff Siobhan Thoroughbred.
Yay.
The yeas have it.
5-3.
Passes 5-3, which means there's not a supermajority. Thus, everyone can be assured there is state oversight and potential to repeal should the mayor act out of turn. Good. Okay, I will go ahead now and I will edit the report into its final form. I will ensure there is a sunset clause at the conclusion of my editing. I will ask that everyone review my notes and edits such that we are all in agreement. This is what we voted for. When we all agree, then I will publish it and I will pass the published version on to the PD.
Who said nay? PD liaison.
I think that's good. I'd also like to say
medical
for everyone
liaison
here,
and treasurer.
I've obviously I've talked about this with a lot of people, but Max, I will not hesitate to repeal this if this starts to go off at the first sign of it going off the rails. I will be submitting something to repeal this.
Well, seeing as I will be petitioning you to basically head up this investigation, I hope it doesn't go off the rails.
And
I
what
would agree.
investigation you're looking into, so we can have at least a bit of perspective? Is it
Everything.
Is
The
there something you
goal.
wanna talk
Sorry,
about
I don't
right
want
now?
to. I don't want to answer for Max, but my perspective that Max
You're
and I
right.
discussed at length is that this is not a targeted investigation of one thing. This is, as I said, I brought
PD
in
as a
Miss Wright
whole.
to help guide me in constructing and orchestrating the city council in our modern form of government. This is simply an investigative panel that will hold interviews with members of the PD should they wish to speak to the panel. And those members of PD can bring up anything they wish. And the panel will then report those concerns, claims, etc. accordingly and their findings thereof, in which I hold the utmost respect and trust in Lance Moulton and Willie Glory to do so with integrity to the mayor. The mayor then will report that information to the state, and then decisions can be made about outcomes based on that information. Is that accurate, Mr. Mayor?
100 million%.
I would also like to add, obviously, nothing is set in stone, but it is my belief that while this may be a team of people, I believe that
Am I still on
each
this?
person operates differently. I would recommend to the mayor's office, whoever is ultimately chosen as the head of this fact-finding mission and whatever team is assembled, that they do not reach their results together. This should be 2 to 4 people who go in as individuals, do their own assessment in whatever way they feel is appropriate, come to whatever conclusion they feel is appropriate, independent of the other people who are going in to investigate. And then that is when the findings come together and are presented.
Yeah. The
That's a
mayor's
good point.
office and the mayor's office and you will discuss the precise methodology to making all of this happen at a later date.
Understood.
I'm a big fan of that. I've said this before when it comes to groupthink, but there's a famous experiment called the lion
I'm here for
experiment,
the balance.
where they get 8 people in a room, 7 of them are plants, and 1 is the
No.
subject. And they
I
put
don't
a
have
piece
to
of paper
balance
in the
anything.
middle of the table, and it has a number of lines on it. 2 of them are relatively close, but pretty obvious if you have a functioning brain, and what we would call a better than lukewarm IQ. Which one is the longest line? The purpose of the experiment is that the 7 planted people go first, and they all pick the wrong answer. About 70% of the time, the subject of the experiment goes with the crowd, even though he knows it's wrong, because he's embarrassed to say his own thoughts and be wrong. So I'm firmly in agreement with Malton that I think an independent assessment is better.
It was always going to be that way. I informed the
There you go.
captains last night of such as well. Sick. Well, we got the hard part out of the way. Does anyone have any suggestions of legislation they'd like to propose?
Yes, but I need time to edit this first, so everyone else, I defer to you.
Can I just to reassure people that if there's any concerns in general about what we just did, if people do believe that there will be some sort of abuse or seeing that things are heading in the wrong direction, impeachment is still an option, and that is something else also to keep in mind. So if shit does go off the rails and it's not Malton's fault, again, impeachment is an option.
Now, my thing is, and I know this is past, I'm just giving my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we just creating another layer, right? Because that commission needs to have oversight as well, right? Isn't the same thing that what might happen again with the captains might happen with the commissioner, where there's no oversight?
So there's the state oversight, just like me.
Right, but the
they
state
already
oversight
under the
is
state oversight.
exactly. My bosses are the feds, right? That's who
Yeah.
hired me. So isn't it the same thing?
Your concern is that you were
it's just
saying
an
that
extra
who's
step.
over, who's looking over the person looking over the person looking over the person is what you're saying.
Exactly. That was the reason why we're here today, right?
No, we're here today because this is an investigative panel into a series of concerns
right,
that have been brought.
Because the mayor believes there's no oversight for the captains, right? Who's holding them accountable?
That may be one facet of it. My belief that is not the end-all, be-all, or purpose of this.
I understand, but I'm discussing what the legislation is supposed to do, right? I'm just trying to kind of, give my thought process on it.
Let me ask you this: Were you intending on creating or electing a chief or commissioner anyway?
Yeah, so we proposed something to the mayor actually, where we proposed for 5-6 names to the city council, and y'all pick somebody who's a good fit for that.
Okay, that's the same thing except the state's doing it.
I mean, you sent me a document, and the only names on that list were the 3 captains.
That was that was a document from Captain Rui's perspective. I provided my guidelines as well too.
Ooh, that doesn't
So
help.
okay, all right.
Oh,
Almost said something really mean.
Again, much like the law
He was about to
enforcement
make a comment.
liaison, the idea here is that people can throw their hat in the ring, people senior and above, and if the state thinks that that person is fit, the state can select that person.
Absolutely.
Boom. Sick. Well, don't want to keep you guys from patrol.
I mean, I'm here if you have any more questions, anything you want to talk about, more than happy to answer. If not, we can leave. I mean, I'm not a city council member. I came here to just provide perspective.
My panel and I will contact you at a later date.
Lame Puff, thank you so much for the Brandon.
Okay,
Alright.
Slacks and Turner, I will make the edits we discussed. I've already given you my word on what that will consist of. I will take the final version and put it into the high command document that we've already discussed before I publish it into legislation, just so you see that I'm honoring my word. I will text you, Slacks, and let you know that it's been updated for your review.
Oh, fuck.
Appreciate you, Justice.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll need somebody to let us out here, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Well, I also don't think people realize that this isn't just the mayor. This is the mayor and the deputy mayor.
I'm feeling good about that, guys.
Yeah.
I still have my concerns, but these concerns can always be addressed via legislation at a later date.
I do like how everything is pointed at Max, even though it says mayor and deputy mayor. So I'm just gonna enjoy my cigarette.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't really.
You're not the one shit talking them, so it's okay.
They deserve to be shit talked. Let's be honest.
I disagree.
Okay, so
There's some. What's that quote about? Something about the emperor's clothes or something. I don't know.
The Emperor's wearing no clothes.
Shoes, I think you mean.
You can criticize people without actively shit talking them.
yeah, they don't listen, man. In response to that meeting last night, they're the only cops on duty. They went back to MRPD. They circled their wagons and they tried to do everything they could to not make this happen. Instead of going out on patrol and keeping these streets safe, which is their fucking job. Okay? And God knows how much they're doing this or how little they're actually doing behind scenes, which is the purpose of this investigation.
I don't disagree with you, Mr. Mayor.
I know your take.
I would
I
just
was in that.
suggest
I was in that
that
room last night, and they pretty much spat in Max's face. I'm gonna be real.
Siobhan, to be frank, I don't trust your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
okay.
fine.
Why don't you trust her opinion, Cantor?
Because she's extremely heavily biased in your favor.
Yeah, and guess who else was biased in my favor? By design, by the government, by Alan Crane,
The
by
chief of
everyone who.
staff? I'm not arguing against that. That's okay if you put her in there.
So, what do you think the
but when
alternative would have
she
been
is
with
trying
my
to
other
defend
chief of
you in a
staff?
situation, I'm not arguing the chief of staff thing. I just said that I don't trust her opinion on how the situation went. That's all.
So simply because she is my wife, you think that she is biased?
Oh, I think Cantor's saying that the chief of staff vouching for your perspective is kind of redundant.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So
it's fine that she is chief of staff. I'm not arguing, but yes.
Okay, so can you?
I'm just
can
gonna
you,
say this right now. Crane is.
Hold on,
All
chief of
right,
staff,
I'll be
please,
quiet.
please. Can you read out loud, Miss Philippa, the precise role definition
I
of
know
chief
what
of
it
staff?
means.
Pedantic.
Max, I am not arguing about her being chief of staff. I never
She's
once mentioned
reflecting
her being
on
chief
it.
of staff.
I think you
So
guys are missing the point.
Oh, look! If this
I'm
is a
not.
council of 8 that is supposed to be, why didn't you say anything about Juno then?
I'm quite literally saying I have no issue with her position. I just said that I do not trust her opinion on how the situation went, because she is obviously biased. That is different to her vote. That is different to her position. That is a personal thing. I am not saying anything about her position or Juno's position or chief of staff or any of that. You are putting words in my mouth.
That's fine. Anyway, listen, she's entitled to her opinion. That's fine. I know that
I
Crane has
understand the
always
purpose of the
trusted me
vote.
to
I
execute
get it.
my best judgment, and that's what counts to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the only two witnesses to what happened
Wait,
last
well,
night,
that's
just,
Alex. If you're talking about,
you think we're lying? You think we're inflating what happened?
The two
Person taking
witnesses
notes.
on your side versus the three people on theirs.
Versus the armed thugs that have failed to do their job.
It is insane that we have
Okay,
voted to put you in charge of them when you were saying things like this.
You didn't vote for shit.
No, I voted against you because of this
Yeah,
attitude.
and according to you,
He's not in charge of them.
You guys didn't even read the report.
That is what he has consistently told them,
He
which is
not,
why
okay,
I have no
Max,
faith that he will not use it to do so.
let's all be really fucking clear for a second. Max is a mayor who doesn't wear shoes, who wears jeans imported from a 14-year-old from Portugal who rides a motorcycle inside City Hall up and down the stairs. Okay?
Mhm.
He's
You could
going
do
to
that.
say absurd, loud shit. It's going to be hyper. The man has a facial tattoo. I
Oh, so
usually
he could be
reserve.
hyperbolic, but not
No,
Ruth? Is that
no,
what you're saying?
no.
What do you? I've not been hyperbolic once.
Stop.
I'm
Okay,
speaking
that
my
is-
mind.
That is in and of itself hyperbolic and ridiculous.
Okay, what hyperbole have I
What
spoken?
you just said.
Okay, before that.
Max, you have a way of articulating yourself in a way that is simultaneous your opinion and also the most emphatic and illustrative way of expressing that opinion. And in my definition, that is the perfect example of what hyperbole is. You may be core at the truth of what you're saying. There may be truth to it, but you are also, for your own, I would guess, entertainment and whimsy, often illustrating things in the way that is most comical and absurd to poke fun at the truth that you believe exists. That to me is hyperbole.
What's your point?
That you're hyperbolic just as much as they are.
But I want to know what Cantor believes that I said was hyperbole before. But you said you can do hyperbole, but
my
Ruth
joke
can't.
was because Crane stopped himself from saying it. It was not my word, and it was that was where the joke came from. Then.
Okay. Well, it is noted that you just completely do not believe my wife and I in matters of the
That is
utmost
not
importance.
what I said. In this one instance, once again, you were conflating this. In this one instance, I have stated that. I have not brought up any issues with her, the council. I have not brought up any issues in relation to anything else.
Can I say there is a distinct difference?
There's like two.
Although it may be being lost here due to emotion and heightened tension, there is a distinction between saying that you're not going to take someone's word for something and saying they are lying. Those are two wholly distinct things. For example, when I'm in court and I'm identifying testimony and someone comes up and says, yeah, cuh, me and the cuh was just hanging out in the sewers walking home, cuh. We didn't try to kill those cops, cuh. I never saw that car, dog. Quote, unquote, Mr. Frederick Rowland from about a week ago. I'm not sitting there and calling Mr. Frederick Rowland a liar.
No,
but
of course
when
not.
his buddy, who also was running from the cops with him, gives me the same story, it doesn't add or subtract from his claim because there is a natural bias and incentive to reflect the same information. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying it doesn't add or detract anything. My perspective is what Cantor was saying is when Siobhan chimes in and says, I can agree with him, I was there, that inevitably for her, it does not add or subtract to the veracity of your statement, given that you both have a similar interest and bias. Not to say that you're lying, just that it doesn't influence her meter of whether you were telling the truth in the first place. Is
I get it.
Relatively accurate?
Yeah, I understand. We're discussing the technical verbiage that she used. I get it. I know that you could argue that she meant it one way. I know, and I feel that she meant it another way. Yeah, look, I get it.
I did not. You
Okay.
can feel however you want, but I will say to you, I
Okay,
did not.
well, I feel that you and the treasurer spoke to each other before this meeting. You came in with an agenda. You probably spoke with Nakota.
I've had a
I
conversation
feel
with everyone here other than you and Siobhan because you weren't around yet. I talked
Okay.
with Michael. I talked with Malton. Two of your yes votes, by the way, who both tried to convince me to vote yes, as well as yes, Nakota and Netta.
So why'd you vote no? I'm curious.
To be frank, as there are changes in it, it didn't seem quite as bad. And I'm not as concerned about the
Hold on.
fact that it
Before you
passed as I
continue,
would have been
before
initially.
you continue,
Okay.
there were no changes except for that third bullet point from the day that you saw it to today. Okay, let's be clear about that.
Okay.
Nothing else
So
changed.
that specific change, since that did change, I feel more comfortable with it. I still did not feel comfortable putting someone who is throwing such vitriol at all three of the captains so unnecessarily. I don't think you should have a say in any of it, to be frank. I know it does not put you directly under. I know, it just gives you a part of it, but I do not think you should have a say if that is your opinion.
Well, I don't think you should have a vote if you can't read reports a day before the fucking council meeting.
I can read it. I've read it plenty. That's why
It's
I was
been in
meeting
there
with
for 3
people.
days, Cantor.
Why would I have met with people if I had not read it? Why are you making things up that are just completely blatant?
I'm not making it up. Both you and Etta had no idea what that said. You tried to give me
I read to you what it said 3 days ago. So
why?
I actually read it at numerous points.
You're speaking
I have read
past
it
each
at
other
numerous
again.
points.
You're speaking
read it
past
at one
each other
point.
again. You're
No,
speaking
I've
past
read
each
both.
other. Guys, we have to address a point the other person makes before making a differing point, or else there is literal no point in discourse, because all you're doing is speaking past each other and reiterating the same thing. If one person says red and the other person says blue, and then the other person just says, no, fuck you, red, and the other person says, what? No, I said blue, not red. And the other person says, no, I said red. What do you mean, you incompetent fuck? And the other person says, no, blue, motherfucker.
The definition of
no
gaslighting.
recourse will ever be reached. So let's focus on maybe getting to purple. How about that?
Okay. I read it a few days ago. I read it last night. I also read it today along with Malton's changes, which we discussed at length.
Those were changes. Those were notes, which is clearly written on the document.
His proposed changes. Sorry.
I mean, I will say that the definition for commissioner was clarified, but that is a very minor thing. I myself had a lot of concerns about this bill as I understood it when I read it. However, through discussing with various parties, I do have a concern about a mayor's office that holds a lot of power over PD. I have significantly less concerns about a mayor's office that is meant to be the liaison between the state and PD.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay, I'm gonna edit this thing. Let's please just try to get to yes together, because otherwise we're just gonna spin in circles. And tension like this will just carry on to other issues, and it'll make our jobs and lives impossible.
Agreed. I will say, just for my thing, I do not have anything specific to propose this week. I am, however, cooking on something next week for government employees, specifically regarding notebooks. The TLDR is that lawyers really like using their notebooks for privileged information. Do I think that should have carte blanche protection like a phone? No, absolutely not. But I do think I do want to write up something for council consideration. So my request for you all is obviously read the MDT. I'll make it a promise to you all here to get what I want to spitball to this council by Thursday. But I would like you all and your respective factions to chew on the issue of what does a notebook mean to a government employee legally versus a civilian, especially when we talk about potential traditionally protected information such as medical information, legal information, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, it doesn't need to be discussed now, but I do plan on bringing up something next week, so I would like that to be on your radar.
Okay.
I think that should be a combo discussion with Cantor's healthcare privilege stuff. I think we should probably just define privilege across the different sectors in one document.
Okay, yeah, fuck it, we can go for that.
Because
That's a good idea.
because we've touched on
That's a
psych,
good
we've
idea.
talked on doctors, we've touched on lawyers, we've touched on clergy. We should probably make some kind of unifying legislative piece that discusses and evaluates privilege as a whole.
That's a great idea.
Also, I want to note, Miss Treasurer, that not to be lost on anyone here, part of the I will say benefit in passing this legislation, as confirmed with the state earlier with Max and I, is that the outright restriction on budgetary funds being assigned to PD may now be conditionally lifted on the premise that they follow through on incentives and objectives laid out by the investigative panel and the mayor. So, for example, if the investigative panel deems that there should be a further rollout of a more fleshed out command structure, or the selection of a commissioner by such and such date, or hiring goals or activity goals or FTO goals or whatever, the things that you have previously brought to me that I brought to the state, such as the Caracaras, the FTO incentives, things like that, those may be used as the proverbial carrot. So there is some progress on that front.
Okay, good.
Dakota, you have anything to present?
No, sir, not today.
Captains didn't slip anything before this meeting?
They did not.
Cantor.
I do. I have the patient privacy. Obviously, if you want to have this be a larger discussion, Crane, we obviously can. But I do have my proposed concept. It's not too in depth, to be honest. I want this to be simple and easy to understand. The main reason that I want it to be legislation is so that both PD, lawyers, and the patients whose information will be given out are all informed here on exactly the process that it goes through, potentially before being posted on the docket. I also made up this little thing at the end about legally recognized families because I just thought it would be funny to give medical backing to those legislations to encourage people to pay the money for them.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I got you.
My full disclosure on this is I did not help Cantor write this at all. However, we've brain picked on HIPAA off and on many times over the months, shall we say, and also every once in a while the hospital does consult with me on various legal matters. That being said, I didn't really have a hand in that legislation, but it makes sense for PIPA. We shouldn't have a direct copy of HIPAA. I think that caused a lot of headaches under old systems. I think what this is an extremely good baseline that could be modified as things come up in the future.
Essentially, I wanted it to only cover an issue that we actually have here, instead of trying to make up other stuff that maybe isn't as much of an issue. So that's about it. That, and I just wanted to help encourage people to pay for adoptive family and marriage so that we can get more money in the state account.
Yeah, people also need to be more mindful of who they list as their emergency contacts too.
That too, I think that
you won't get lists of like 25 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an actual purpose behind them instead of just call this fucking giant list of people for me.
I guess I will say, I think that's more hospital policy, but in relation to, let's say, this legislation, would you, I guess, or the board, would you be discussing like limiting like a max number of emergency contacts, or what would be like that procedure?
We did. That might be a good idea. We have had in the past a maximum of 5. It's kind of an optional maximum.
The thing is that wills
used
to be abused, and that's why they were made
not to. But you don't have to
into not being a thing anymore.
List of people. So we could 5 could be good, maybe 5 plus family. So it gives an incentive for that.
I mean, yeah, I think ultimately, it's just more work for you the longer the list is under this legislation.
No, you're
or
not
more,
wrong.
More chances for someone to get early. So I don't know. I think that's hospital purview. But
do you think 5's a decent number there?
I think 5 is good.
Okay. Yeah, 5 sounds like fine to me at least. But I would defer to the hospital as a whole or the board as to what they think is appropriate.
I'm pretty happy with 5. I think I think in regards to this, it could even be less. The issue is that emergency contacts are also people that they want contacted, so it serves 2 purposes. I don't want to limit that too hard. It could be a whole separate list, but then no one wants to come down to the hospital and register a bunch of lists of people.
I mean, in theory, you could cater this to be the top 5 names on their emergency contact list, or the top 3, and
I like
that. That way they could still have the list as long as they want, but per this legislation, only the top X number can sign off on that form.
There you go. How about now? I put one of their first 5 emergency contacts and they signed for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds great, and then it still gives
There
the
you go.
freedom for
I
people.
even-
for you all to
I
have
might
more.
even make it 3 because this is pretty big. It should be like you shouldn't have a long list of people that you're willing to have verify your medical information unless you think differently.
Can I ask a question? So this is supposed to be that the emergency contacts can sign even when the individual is incapacitated?
That's only.
Yes.
Wait,
So
is it
give y'all,
is it only when they're incapacitated? Sorry, that's
It
what
says
I.
they're unable to sign or whatever. So I'm just
yes.
wondering. So this is essentially a limited
Is it
healthcare
stop
durable power of
yawning?
attorney.
I am
Pretty
It's a
much.
fucking
limited
So
healthcare
to give
tired.
y'all-
I've been going
Okay,
for
skip
what?
I'm just
y'all
wondering.
12
context-
hours.
Yeah, no, you're good. To give y'all
I need a
context on why I
snack.
thought this was necessary, our process in the past was if it is a violent crime, just give it to cops immediately. And we did genuinely run into situations where a patient was injured, then was out and about, and no one even asked them if the cop could get that information. The cop got it and posted it in the docket, and the patient didn't even know. And that is the kind of situation that I want to.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
That is the kind
What?
of situation
That's
that I want
whack.
to assure
Okay.
doesn't happen because
Yeah,
that's a
totally.
little bit.
Ah, snack.
No,
insane.
100%.
It's kind of a fringe case. It's not the most common, but I think just people should have some level of control over it. So at least if it's an emergency contact, they
They're
pick
not
that
Somebody
cop.
they trusted,
beforehand?
right? No,
Yeah.
that makes perfect
Mhm.
sense to me,
Exactly.
100%. But I guess
Okay.
just make sure that people are aware of what putting someone on the emergency contact list may entail,
Yes,
right?
that's
That
why
would
I
be
want this
it.
to be, public legislation, so people
I love
are
that. I
aware of
literally
how
love
it,
this.
how it works.
I love
Hell
this
yeah, I'm
so
glad.
much. Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
this is great.
Can I? Okay, so
Yeah,
I made
what
a
you got?
couple edits.
Okay.
Can y'all look at the city council documents, the police continuity plan? I'm just gonna walk everyone through this real quick. So I've added a couple of just minor phrasings that I think reflect the conversation we had with the captains and the things that I've mentioned that clarify the, I guess, misinformation or assumptions that were made regarding the act. So first, preserving the initial document on behalf of the state. The capacity on behalf of the state was already written there in the first paragraph, talks about checks and balances. The before in blue, I believe, is a great piece of speech writing by Max, but maybe doesn't convey his exact pure intention. So I've tried to recraft the same intent, but with softer language that I think still reflects the outcome. So you can sort of review for yourself the different language there, but I believe it means the same thing ultimately. There's just some softening language to, avoid ruffled feathers. For example, instead of saying this has potential for great abuse of power, potential has all been snuffed out in every other corner of government. I simply said this is intended to snuff out any potential perceived or otherwise corruption or inefficiencies leading to abdication of the roles and responsibilities of the current chain of command. From there, I've added very minor phrasing such as the law enforcement, so the constituency of the law enforcement department in Los Santos, to reflect the fact that we're not asking for the captain's input, we're asking for the rank and file. The opportunity to petition the mayor's office as an agent of the state, again, to reflect the supremacy there. And then down below, you'll see some of the same language, and I see that Max has already added the sunset clause.
Okay.
Given how this has been phrased, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Max, anybody else?
No, I think you legally sit real good.
Yeah, I think this is what was voted on, and yeah, like I said, if any major changes, additions, or subtractions need to be added in the future, that could be done when those votes arise.
Max, thoughts on the blue and green paragraphs?
I read it as you're writing. It looks great.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm capturing your intent.
It's going to be the next
edit
commission.
your
Yeah,
thoughts.
no,
Just,
you did it great.
Okay, I will then save this copy for posterity, so we have a record of how we debated it. I'm going to copy this text, get rid of the blue text, change the green text to white, remove the after, and then remove everything after the sunset clause. And that will be what I put in the High Command report
3
for
months.
Slacks. Everybody good on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and copy the stuff after the sunset clause into my personal notes report. If you guys want to continue throwing on stuff into there. While this is the purview of the mayor's office, I am of course willing to listen to great unbiased ideas.
Yeah. With that being said, to derail, I mean, Cantor, are you did you make are you calling for a vote on Pippa, or do you want to cook on it?
If anyone has more questions about it, or if free to let me know. Or anything.
What is the
yeah.
final number you decided on with the emergency contacts? Are you still sitting at 5?
Yeah. Here's my thing.
All right, Corn.
I'm
Why
not a
Corn
pussy.
was
I don't
still
go into
fucking
the
here?
ICU. I'm strong. So I don't really know what people want. I don't know like what people would be happy with.
I mean, could you leave it vague that up to an amount determined by the board? I don't know what I'm saying. Like,
no, I can set a number. I think maybe 5 is reasonable.
5
but then,
is,
like,
yeah.
You think 5 is reasonable? Okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine somebody really needing more.
I mean,
People that have laundry lists, their primary point of contact can reach out to the rest of them. So.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, you call a vote next week to just change the number if you really need to.
Honestly,
right?
yeah, that's true. We can absolutely change that if it's too overbearing. Okay, I think it's a good start. All right.
So are you calling for a vote then?
Yeah, I know the medical specifics. Y'all probably don't know too much, so but yeah, if anyone has questions.
Sorry, I have one more question.
okay.
Is it possible for them to indicate the relationship of the emergency contact? That way, if it was like a boyfriend or a girlfriend and it was all outdated information, you're not calling up an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or something. You know what I mean?
that
maybe
has happened before,
right?
Yes.
So maybe let's
People
indicate
can come in and
relationship.
update it at any time. Yes, we could definitely. So it's usually essentially we just put what information they give us. If they want to say like say for example, if I put Frazier, who's my husband, not legally under the state currently, but will be soon when we can afford it. If I were to put that, like I would probably put in brackets that he's my husband. Some people just don't give us that information, but we would be happy to take it if they do, and use that accordingly.
Yeah, like Murphy got shot on the head and we were already divorced and they called me because his emergency contact list was outdated.
People do not update theirs a lot. At least if this passes, people might be, generally aware that they should. Yeah. Okay. Well, if no one has any more questions, yeah, we can go for a vote.
Aye.
For me, I was.
Aye.
Any nays?
Yeah, it's probably easier on this one.
Yeah.
It passes unanimously. Good work.
Thank you all.
Hooray.
Okay, I'm going to tag that as approved. I will enact it accordingly.
Okay.
I have delivered the updated version to the PD High Command documents. Slacks is in receipt and is reviewing.
Crane, do you have anything in particular you'd like to propose today?
Okay, I have some updates, not necessarily proposals. I figured we could spitball some things. So to start off, I have talked to the operators of the Grime trucks. The result is that the way that the system is set up now, the Pounder and the Packer trucks, which are the like level 2 and 3 trucks, the larger commercial vehicles, they currently are set up to allow PD to inspect the cargo and inspect the contract assigned that the person is working on. Those contracts only display the current contract, right? So if the current contract is, let's say, 600 kilos and the truck has a capacity of 1,000, if they're at 700, then they're exceeding the current contract, but not the capacity of the truck. So the idea was potentially they could do more than one contract. However, after speaking to different folks, both in PD with their results and folks that run Grime, I have found out that most all of the contracts on those larger vehicles are at or very near the limit for the truck itself. This is, as I understand it, working as intended. So although the Grime drivers may be unhappy with this, the apparent intent of the people who operate those vehicles and allow the drivers to utilize them is that they should only be doing one contract at a time. If they do more than one contract at a time and overload the truck, which is in and of itself inevitable by doing more than one contract, they will be in violation. So I am bringing that forward to note to everyone that that should color how we determine what punishment is appropriate for people who go over that weight system, understanding that it literally means that they will need to complete round trips to and from the city to say Sandy or Grapeseed or Polito to avoid not being in compliance. So that is one, food for thought. Second item was gun licenses. I have intended to roll them out today. However, I am still
I don't think
working with
anyone is
the folks
using
who regulate the ammunition
the
state-run
pass for this
businesses
shit.
to ensure that